I'm sorry. You're safe now.
I came for you.
It's okay.
My boy.
Oh, fuck off, Blake Dexter. Fuck off. We're busy. We're having a moment.
Your money?
Oh, you went and you triggered her. You said the trigger word.
Come on. Let's go. It's over.
Well, not quite. If it was over, this would have been in the last video, but it's not. So hello and welcome back to Let's Play Hitman Absolution with me, Grey Hunter, where we are going to play the epilogue of this. Now you might be thinking...
47.
Actually, I'll explain after Diana's had a little talk.
If you read this letter, I am most likely dead. You will have shot me for a traitor, and Travis will have won.
Except it turns out motivations do matter.
Let him have the girl as well. Travis's division was conducting genetic experiments without the agency's knowledge.
Those bastards.
Victoria was their crowning achievement. Give her the choice you never had. Protect Victoria and kill Benjamin Travis.
With great pleasure, Diana. With great pleasure. So the epilogue is Absolution. Now, this video does go for 32 minutes,
Good luck,
but
47.
I'm going to tell you now that this only goes for about 12 minutes, the mission itself. The rest of it is the credits sequence, which you can safely skip, but I will be analyzing the game somewhat and saying how bad it is and how good it is in areas. So pop through there like that, and then head on down, picking up this brick towards this gravestone. And then move around here, and throw for this gravestone. Then make your way down this way. This is a remarkably quick mission. You wouldn't have thought that you'd get through it so quickly, but you can. So just wait and go. You have to make sure you go at exactly the right time, otherwise that guy will see you crossing the path. And then you hide behind here with the scissors. So Jade doesn't think that Diana is dead, which is interesting. Well, actually, she thinks that she is dead, but Benjamin Travis isn't so sure. Which is fairly interesting, because Jade has actually been clever during the little scenes that we've seen of her. She's not a complete idiot. She's got some intelligence, so it's interesting that she assumes that Diana must be dead. So we'll just wait for these guys to walk past us, and then over we go, and we'll go this way to grab the evidence. Thank you very much. And we'll go touch this just to break line of sight, and head round here. And then hide in this mulcher for a moment. Now we just have to wait for this guy who's off to our right to walk over to our left. Come on, buddy. Get gone. There he goes. Out we come. Don't you worry about that little noise. We'll just perch here for a second. Lob the scissors over there. And while he's investigating, quickly make our way over to pick this lock.
We'll look into it. Over.
There we go. And make our way through. Now this next section, it's actually quite short. This section, very, very much so. Depends on how you want to do it, really.
The real reason Burnwood went rogue, your little science project, everything could get exposed. I'm not going down because you're obsessed with a dead woman.
Management will believe what I tell
So just follow this guy
you. Wanted to
and choke him out.
Well, this is your
There we go.
Get it done. Start writing up your own epitaph.
And just choke him out. We don't want his disguise, we just want him to be choked out because he is standing in our way. Now we'll head back over this way so we can trigger Jade's little script of walking around. Just sneak up this way. Grab a brick. Hide over here. And just wait until that second guy walks past. There's the first one. There's the second one. And lob the brick in a this way direction. There we go. Now the guy who is standing right next to us will go, and we can make our way safely up here. I didn't quite get Jade. There we go. Jade located. Now we can get the hell out of Dodge. Pick up this brick, and continue on our way. We don't actually need this brick for this section, but it's nice to have. Now, I actually achieved this next little bit with my pistol the first time that I was recording it. But we didn't actually finish the mission, so I didn't bother keeping it. You can use the sniper rifle, it's silenced. And I achieved a headshot with the pistol on Jade before I remembered that they'd given me a sniper rifle that was in my pocket. So I'd actually handicapped myself quite badly. So the reason we went over to where Jade was is because she won't actually move from that spot until you trigger her movement by walking over there. So she's going to come over to this way because Travis is asking for a progress report. She'll go for a little bit of a walk, and then we can shoot her in the head. So this cemetery level, like as a whole, it's fun because it's a lot of stealthing, but it's not very Hitman, I didn't think, because it's just a revenge killing in this case. Which I suppose is something that he does. I guess he did that in Blood Money as well, when he killed Mr. God, the name escapes me now. I cannot remember. Bye, Jade.
Eliminate the threat.
Yeah. And just so you can see, silent as fuck. We shot her in broad daylight, but it's silent as fuck. And then the exit is just over here, so we wander in through this way. I can't remember what the guy's name was. He had a nickname, Mr. Something, and he was the Ferris wheel owner guy. But I can't remember what his nickname was off the top of my head. So now we face the 3 Praetorians. They're supposed to be Hitman 2.0. They're not. Spoilers. They're actually not. I think you'll find that 47 is the best, and fuck you, Travis. So up we go. This is where we need our brick. So just hide in here, get our brick, and wait a moment. Come on, buddy. Out you come. There we go. There's the first one. We'll throw our brick over that way. Now these guys have preternatural senses. They will notice you from absurd distances. They will hear your movement from absurd distances, and you will be fucked if they spot you. Luckily, you can use that to your advantage. And choke. Now the game has a slight hiccup here when I'm dragging him over this way, and then I choose to pick up the brick. You'll see it in a second. There you go. It had a slight little freeze moment there. I don't know why. It just didn't like me. And here comes number 2. Now we're going to sneak up behind him and garrote the bastard. He won't notice a goddamn thing. Oh, you're dead. Then we'll drag him up against this wall. So that's 2 out of 3. You'll notice their names. They're all named after shields. Very poetic of Travis. There wasn't evidence to collect in the previous section, but I have never found a way to do it in suit only. Obviously it has been done by somebody, but I don't know how to do it. And there's trip mines in this area, so you want to be very careful what you walk past. They've got little lasers as well, like the lasers that were in the previous video when we went to get the poison for the sushi. So we'll just wait here for a minute. Now I was very lucky here because when I went around this and moved to the statue, I almost got seen. He nearly saw me. He was thinking about it. Now we sneak out behind him and garrote him as well. Good night, sweet prince. And there we go. Jack Aegis, John Hoplin, and Carrie Scootum. All dead. All gone. Now to the crematorium, which is right here. Pick up some explosives, and we'll pop those on the door. Because fuck Travis, he's gonna die. Beep boop. Walk away from it, because you don't want to get caught in the explosions. Plus, bad guys don't look at them. You know, badass guys. Kaboom! Even though we looked at the explosion, we're still badass. We're 47. It doesn't count. Hello, Travis. How are you? That didn't go so well, did it?
You never did get it, did you big bald fuck?
Not really.
She was made to be a killer, just like you. It was gonna be perfect.
Yeah, about that.
Alright. Just tell me. Did you kill her?
Oh, well. Can't do that.
Diana. Is she really dead?
Is she?
You will never know.
Kablam. Because 47's a badass. Yep. So, Travis is dead. The agency is in ruins. But the real question is, did 47 kill Diana? Well, no. No, he didn't. Hi, Vicky. What are you gonna pick? Are you gonna be like 47 or are you not?
Diana,
Choices, choices.
do what you have to do.
Of course, we're watching her through the only thing we know how to use, the scope of our sniper rifle. Intriguing.
Excellent work, 47. The money has been wired to your account. Welcome back. And thank you.
No worries, Diana. You saved our life in blood money, we saved your life in Absolution. As you can see, silent assassin, silent as fuck. Like a mouse. Okay, so there is a little video clip to play after this, and I did record the credits, but as I said, they're extremely long. So I might finish my little talk about the game and cut the credits there, or I might just silence them and fast forward them through so that people can see them. I don't know, I like to have the credit sequences at the end, just so people can look at them. See who made the game, see who put the effort into it.
Because I can help you find them. For a price, of course.
So Birdie just sold us out to the cops. Which is presumably going to be the premise for the next game. Because they did announce that there is going to be another Hitman game in the works. So that could be interesting. Because we're not on the run from the agency anymore. The agency has been taken out. They are done. They are gone. Well, 47 and Diana might be making a new one, but the agency that sent 47 to kill Diana and get Victoria and entangled him with Birdie and Blake Dexter and all that, they're gone. They're dead. They're done. So it'll be an interesting thing to see where they go with the direction of the next Hitman game, because they don't have the agency as the bad guys anymore, unless they want to do this sort of plotline again, which would be kind of, well, dull, because Absolution did it. So what I like about this game, I kind of liked the story in parts. There were some bits of the story that I just sort of went, wait, what? Why the fuck did you do that? For example, Blake Dexter capturing 47 and then not just killing him, but trying to frame him for murder. If you've got 47 right there and you think that he's after you, kill the motherfucker. Don't let him go. And then when he threatens Birdie, and he lets Birdie go, you've just made an enemy out of someone who sells information for a living. That's not very fucking clever. So Blake Dexter, all in all, was a really bad villain, because he was funny and all, he was interesting, but he was an idiot. And that didn't make him a compelling villain. Like, you knew that 47 was going to win in the end, because this guy was just too dumb to live. I mean, really? Why would you let 47 go? Why would you let Birdie go? Birdie knows everything. 47 kind of knew everything at a certain point. I mean, he killed your information broker. Don't you think that's a little bit of a clue that he might have an idea what's going on? I would have thought it was a bit of a clue that he had an idea of what's going on. I did like Victoria, though. A lot of fans didn't. A lot of fans thought, oh, we don't need that sort of character in the story. But I liked her. She provided a human element for 47, which I think is sorely lacking in some of the games, because 47 is obviously not a human. He's a clone, who is just as human as you or I might be, perhaps, but he doesn't have normal human relationships, for one thing, and he doesn't have quite the same moral code that normal people would have, mainly because he's not a normal person. He's an assassin. He's a cloned assassin made to kill people. And I thought that it was nice that Diana and especially Victoria were there to humanize him, because 47 needed that, I think, as a character, because we've seen him as a relentless killing machine, we've seen him on the job, but we've never seen him emotionally invested in something. Not really. I mean, there was his pet in Blood Money, his canary. I think it was a canary. It was a canary or a pigeon. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but it wasn't really a human connection as such, because it was an animal. But with Victoria, he definitely has that connection. They're two of a kind. They're almost exactly the same. And he struggles with that because he didn't ever have a choice. And Diana is essentially asking him to make sure that Victoria does have a choice, because she deserves one. And I think that that was a nice, refreshing element into the world of 47. I do get that people were kind of going, oh, I hope she doesn't become a permanent character, because we don't need 47 to have a sidekick. And I agree, I don't really want it to be a sidekick. But you can see 47, Diana, and Victoria as kind of a family, if you bend your mind a little bit. Because Diana is very much taken on the role of Victoria's mother. 47 kind of takes on the role of her father as such, in the way that he protects her from evil, as it were. And Victoria is obviously the child in this situation. But it makes for an interesting dynamic, because it's an emotional investment for 47 that we've never seen before. And I did like that. I wouldn't mind her returning as a character in the next Hitman game, but not being part of it as such. Sort of like how in Splinter Cell Blacklist, you have Sam Fisher talking to Sarah on the voicemail machine thing, you know, like he calls to see how she is. That sort of thing would be okay, because it would be involving her and reminding you that 47 does have commitments and interests, etc., outside of the stuff that he does for the agency, while not being overly obtrusive. That would be kind of cool. So I liked Victoria. I liked Diana, even though I didn't really like that 47 accepts the contract straight away. You know, like he goes to kill Diana. Because it doesn't seem like something that he would do. It seems a little bit odd, considering that 47 and Diana are friends. I mentioned this in the first video, but they are friends. They are pretty close. She's essentially the closest thing he's ever had to family, apart from Dr. Ortmeyer. And she's never really taken advantage of him as such. She did play him a little bit in Blood Money when she pretended to kill him. Spoilers, but she's never really taken advantage of him. She's always been on his side. And I think that it suffered a little bit that Diana was his target, and the only thing you got from him saying that he was slightly uncomfortable with it was the journal briefing that a lot of people would have missed. I didn't cover it in the video that I did, but there's a point in the mission briefing journal thing that he has where he says that he will only look at Diana as a target. He will make sure that this contract is not personal, which he reverses, amusingly enough, for the epilogue in Absolution, where he says that Benjamin Travis is the target, and this is most definitely personal. I did like that. 47 getting angry, that was nice. I did like that bit. But it seems strange to me on the other hand as well, and I think this reflects really bad writing on the part of the writers for this game, that Diana doesn't try to include 47. Or if she does, it's never actually pointed out, because 47 never, has a point where he clearly says, this is a ruse, I'm not actually going to go through with what Benjamin Travis wants me to do, I'm just pretending, I'm going through the motions so that he'll think that I did it. He never says that, so as far as the player knows, he goes there with every intention of actually killing Diana. Which seems very odd, because Diana is his friend, and she would have involved him in something like this, surely. She would understand that if anybody was to understand that what was happening to Victoria had to be stopped, it would be 47, because he is Victoria. Essentially, he is Victoria. Just the older version. And a lot less female, obviously. But it seems to me that is terrible, terrible writing on the part of the people who wrote the script for this. This game was, I suppose, Hitman Splinter Cell Conviction, but it wasn't a particularly good one in terms of the trigger for him going rogue. Because the trigger for Sam Fisher going rogue in the Splinter Cell series is that he thinks his daughter is dead. He's had to kill his best friend. He thinks that the agency he works for no longer is worth his trust. For 47, all those things happen, except for the whole daughter thing. Like, all these things happen. He feels that he can't trust the agency, but it's done in such a bad way. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit bad at explaining this sort of failure as I see it, but to me, they just really, really messed it up. They could have done so much better. But on the plus side, I did enjoy the game. The game itself is not necessarily bad, for all the rage that it gets from the Hitman community. Oh, and by the way, Steve Blum, he's in this too. He's in fucking everything, but he's in this too. The Hitman franchise's fan base didn't really like Absolution because it was a lot more linear than Blood Money was. The levels were less open, there was less freedom, I suppose you would say, and I can, to a certain extent, agree with that, but I did like the game itself in that it felt quite smooth. There was a little bit of a hiccup on a few levels, with frame rate and choppiness, etc. And I didn't like some of the alert statuses that the AI would go through, where it would notice something and then 5 minutes later, after checking out stuff, would just go back to normal, like nothing had happened. I will grant you that that's probably what a lot of people do in the same situations. They just go back to whatever it was they were doing because whatever happened obviously wasn't as big of a deal as they thought. But for a game that basically relies on stealth, some of it was a bit clunky. And sometimes I thought that it was a little wonky, especially when, as you would have seen in the video where we took out all the Saints are higher weighted to go investigate noise. So you could make sure that you lured only the Saints over to you, if you were careful, by where you put your noise-making things. And that just sucks a little bit of the realism out of it for me. So I get why, from a game perspective, it was done like that, but I can also see why people who are die-hard Hitman fans wouldn't like it. I didn't much like it either the first time I played it through, but I've played through this game 4 times, I believe, on various difficulties, and having done so, I think that, it's a decent game. I played through Hitman Blood Money more, but it's a decent addition to the Hitman series, if it's not a complete homage to the Hitman series, if that makes sense. It's not a complete carbon copy, obviously. It's not the classic Hitman, as people would imagine it. It's more of, well, it's more the Splinter Cell Conviction of the series. And like Splinter Cell Conviction, it has its own merits, it has its own failings, but overall it's a game that, if you take it on merit and analyze it as a game, it wasn't that bad. It might not have been the perfect Hitman game, it certainly wasn't the Hitman game I was expecting when I heard that they were making it, but it was a fun little romp. It wasn't too bad. And there were some really good levels. I mean, like, you know, Blackwater Park, that is definitely my favourite level. And after that, I would probably have to say the Streets of Hope. There were some really fun levels in Hitman Absolution. And it showed, because, like, they were good. They were fun. You could enjoy yourself in those levels. You could explore. You could find yourself exploring for ages and ages and ages. And that's one of the things about the Hitman series, is that you always explore the maps. You don't just go running head on into things. You go and explore the maps. You make sure that you know what's going on. You look at patterns. You analyze them. You figure out where people are going at different points in time. And you fuck them up. And it's beautiful. So, I'm kind of running out of things to comment on about the game. I liked that David Bateson was in it. That's a plus. That's definitely a plus. I liked most of the characters, even the ones that kind of failed at being evil, like Benjamin Travis and Blake Dexter. I didn't much like the Saints, because they seemed like a gimmick just thrown in because. That was one of the things about the story that I just didn't get. Why did they have to be like they were? I will admit that they were an interesting foe to face, but they were in it for so little time, and there was so little build-up, that once you got to killing them, you didn't really care. You just killed them because they were there. You didn't really give a fuck about who they were. You just murdered the bitches. And while I will admit that saving the Hawaiian bartender / manager guy was cool, because, you know, you could just blitz your way through and survive, and he'd have that interesting tale of one day there was a bald man with a barcode on his head who killed all of the crazy stripper nuns who tried to kill me. That is an interesting story, and I hope that that comes up at some point, like as a news report. But, you know, they were kind of pointless. I did like Birdie. Birdie was fun. Birdie was interesting. He's a good character because he kind of bridged the gap between 47 and information, because usually 47 would rely on Diana and the agency to tell him all about his information stuff. In this case, he had to rely on an outside information broker. Granted, it's an information broker that it's kind of hinted that he knew beforehand, but he's an outside source. He's not the guy that you would usually go to, and that makes him, by default, interesting. I did like... what was his name? I can't remember now. I did like the... I can't remember. Wade, that's it. Because Wade was a little bit crazy. Wade was interestingly crazy, though. Like, he was a guy who was kind of like 47 in that it didn't matter to him who he hurt and who he killed, because there was a reason behind it. For 47, it's because it's his job. For Wade, it's because he presumably likes killing. But it was an interesting flip side to the coin that is 47, because 47 is all discipline and making sure that he gets through his mission with as little casualties and as few people knowing about him being there as possible. Wade, on the other hand, just marches straight into an orphanage and starts fucking shit up because he's just unhinged and insane. You know, Wade is an interesting character because he is so goddamn crazy. He's a little bit much, I felt. But considering that, I imagine, I'm not entirely sure, but I imagine that their goal was to show you how insane 47 could be if he wasn't so rigid and regimented and made sure that everything was just so. He could be very much like Wade. And that's a scary thought. The other guy that I liked was Tommy Clemenza, I think his name is, or I can't remember. Suit Man. You'll know who I'm talking about. Blind Suit Man. I liked him because he is the sort of person that you can just imagine 47 like dealing with, simply because he can't ever rat out 47. He's blind. He doesn't know. He can't. He's just a suit maker. He's a tailor. And you can tell that 47 kind of likes him. You know, he calls him Tom. He goes there to get his new suit. He obviously trusts the guy enough to let him touch him, to find out his measurements. And I think that's cool. I think it's nice to see part of 47's human side, because you don't really see it all that much. And it was nice that that Taylor could be in there to illustrate it to you, because he added a nice extra dimension. He was only in it as well. You know, like, he was only in it for 5 seconds. But that 5 seconds, in the sum total of the game, that is, he obviously was in there for a bit longer, but the 5-second snapshot window thing of him being there added so much to the game. Like, there was so much extra depth added to 47 in that one little exchange of dialogue between him and the tailor. And I hope that they keep him in as well. Like, maybe not as much as Victoria, but I'd like for those characters that added to 47's human side to be in the next game, because they've already said, as I mentioned earlier, that they are going to make another game. And I think it would be interesting to see how that goes. But we're seeing the end of the credits here, so I think I'm going to wrap up. I will see you guys in the next Let's Play of something or other. I've got a few projects lined up. And until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me through this entire credit sequence that has gone for almost 20 minutes. And I will see you guys in the next project that I undertake. So until then, this is Grey Hunter saying thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo.